So the first question is, what is a spell? Technically speaking, a spell is anything you do to which you put um, effort toward to help manifest something in some way. And that's really it. Like there's many people who view spells and prayers very, very, very similar, and I get that. But then people's like, well, spells, they have components, they have this and that, and they don't need those. So then, of course, the question comes, what do I need to have a spell? What makes a spell a spell? Is it the components? And the components to any spell out there, I don't care what the spell is, the component is a anchor for ether that is being anchored and held and helping you focus on it. And that's it. It's a focus aid. You can do any spell or anything you want without any components at all, but it takes more focus to hold in that ether, to push toward your intent, to push toward your will, to push toward that manifestation, right? So every component you add is just an anchor for something to focus, and it has to make sense to you. And all spells require you, the magician. They require the magician to have that ability to focus and to push intent toward it. There is no spell in existence that I have ever encountered, nor have any magician I ever know who actually has a successful practice encountered, that you just take component A, B, C, D, put them in a cauldron, light them on fire, and boom, magic happens. It doesn't work. You actually have to put yourself into it. The components, they're just the focuses for your own will. They're not necessary, but you and your will always be necessary. Does that make sense? I hope so. Can candle staring open your arcane senses? Depending on what you mean by candle staring. If you're just staring at a flame, not really. Staring at a fire is not going to open your arcane senses. It might help to get you into a trance and hypnotize you because of the movement of the candle. And in that trance state, in some cases, some people's awareness expands, but it's not necessarily the case. Now, if you're going to do some kind of candle spell or candle gazing with intent, that's different than just staring at a candle, right? So I want to say it's the Arcane Senses course that we have at the online school, which is a free course. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Head over to the community and go take a look at it. But if I remember correctly, I do have a candle spell, and it uses, it's recommended purple. You can use any color. The candle color don't matter. It should make sense to you. Most people do associate purple to like a neon bluish color with psychic energies and the arcane senses and stuff. So that's why we chose a purple one. But that being said, you can actually focus on the candle flame with the intent of your senses being open, but you also have to be seeing in that flame. You have to be visualizing in that flame the entire time you're doing it. Your senses not opening, but being open, okay? Because I'm going to let y'all in on a secret. Senses don't open and close like a door or your eyeball. They're always open. It's a matter of, are you paying attention to them? Just like selective hearing, how you can tune your mom out or tune your sibling out when they're sitting there nagging and you're like, what'd you say? It's not like you corked your ears up or anything. You selectively, you ignored that particular sound. All humans do it. We have that ability. And just like when you're trying to hear something, you can focus and you can hear, you're focusing on trying to hear that one specific thing. Or, when you're trying to see something, you focus your eyes, you start paying more attention to that specific direction, that specific sound you're picking up on. That is what we mean when your arcane sense is opening. It's you actually learning to pay attention to them. So you don't want to stop doing spell work to open them. Stop. Start doing spell work to have them. Okay? So when you are using some kind of spell for opening your senses, what you want to visualize is you having the senses functional. Now, I'm going to say functional for a reason. Every human being's arcane senses function slightly differently. The odds of meeting someone who functions exactly like you is highly unlikely. Similar, yes, but highly unlikely for exact. So You need to have them functional. And check out some of the videos I've done on misconceptions of senses, and I'll do more videos actually if you want. Those would be what you need to do. But in those cases, yes, it can. Claw, good to see you. So, real quick though, what do I mean when I say those components are a focus? So, anytime we're putting our intent to something, anytime we're seeking out a goal of manifestation, a change, something, whatever you're doing the spell work for. Because you're not just doing spell work to, oh, look, I have a cup of coffee. I'm going to do spell work for a cup of coffee. I already got this. I don't need it. And honestly, why am I going to do spell work when I know I can go in here and make a cup of coffee with no effort, right? That's a waste of time and effort to do something you got. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean? So you should be pursuing something, and it should be something you view as realistic. It literally should be something you view as realistic. If you're automatically in disbelief and you're starting your spell working in disbelief, you do not have the will to follow through. The doubt will kill it. I don't care how many components you pull in. That being said, when we look at what components you need, you look at what makes sense to you. There's plenty of correspondence tables out there. Plenty of people will sell them to you, whatever. I'm telling you right now, don't buy them. They're not worth the money. If you have a book that has correspondences in it, it's a starting point only. You can also Google them on the internet for free. But what's going to make the most sense, if you're looking for a candle, let's say we're doing a candle spell, and you need a candle spell for, let's say you're wanting to go to the gym and build muscle. What color says muscular gains to you? That's that question you need to answer. What color? When you think of bodybuilding, strength building, what color makes sense to you? Grab that candle. Technically, you don't need a color. Any candle will work. Honestly, I have not bought a colored candle and I don't know how long. I've just been buying white candles for a really long time. That and red and green, because red and green candles always go very, 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 very freaking dirt cheap around Christmas. And I love using taper candles. So anytime they hit the clearance bin for like that, what is it? It's usually like a 6 to a 10 pack of tapers for $1 or 50 cents. I load my cart up and I just clear out their clearance. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I'm just picking up cheapo white candles. Straight up. I'm not lying. And I honestly do not buy the little chime candles that people market as spell candles. I can't remember the last time I bought those. Anyways, moving on. So pick the color that works best for you. Then let's say you want to, you want to do a candle spell for weight loss. Okay, maybe the spell you chose for weightlifting doesn't make sense for you when it comes to weight loss. Maybe something else makes sense to you. You'd use that. Most people think green for prosperity. Not everyone does. I know one person, for them, prosperity is red and gold, right? And I know that golds make sense. For me, I never thought of red as a prosperity color, but when they explained their line of thinking, that made sense, right? Herbs, same thing. What herb matches what you're doing? Are you trying to make a spell to help you sleep better? What herbs make sense for sleep to you? You do want to avoid anything you know naturally is awakening. For me, mint has always been one of those relaxing herbs. It works great for me. Ironically, one of the things that relaxes me is coffee. I do not reach for coffee, even though I know caffeine don't keep me awake. Like I could chug an entire pot of extra strength coffee and go straight to bed with no issues. But I still won't reach for coffee for my sleep spells because though it relaxes me, it's also an item that I start my day with it. I associate it with starting my day. And I don't want that association attributed to a sleep spell. So understand that it's more important your association of that component. But the component itself is just taking and anchoring your focus of your subconscious to it. Okay? So the better your focus is, the better you can hold visualizations, the better you can push your intentions into a working and push it out into the multiverse, the fewer and fewer and fewer components you need. Ideally, you get to the point where you don't need a component for anything. That's living the dream. And honestly, that's a point where most of my spell workings these days, I don't gather up components. I'll be honest with you. Also, is it weird to find it easier to visualize with my eyes open rather than shutting them? Nope. That's actually pretty, that's split about 50-50. So it depends because There are a lot of people who do find it easier to focus because they can stare at a spot in the wall and not really pay attention to what they're physically seeing, so they can still see the visualizations easier. But when they close their eyes, they're distracted by either their eyes adjusting to the fact that they closed them. In some cases, they can see the blood vessels in their eyes. There's a lot of things when you close your eyes can be distracting. A lot of people who have sleep problems know this. I know when I had insomnia, I'd force my eyes shut and I'm like, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to sleep. And all I could see was like those little images and the little lights dancing and stuff. And that would be distracting. So yeah, it can absolutely be easier to do it when open than closed. One thing I have learned over the years is from day to day, I differ. Some days it's easier for me to visualize with my eyes closed. Some days it's easier to visualize with my eyes open. And I try to play around with that and recognize what kind of day it is. And that's what I go with. That's also another reason I like low light when I'm doing any workings, because there's less light to distract me, right? Darkness, heard that if you do your food and third eye right, your dreams get 10% better. And according to Ryan Cropper, you can astral project from a dream. There's a lot of people who state that. And, I'll be honest, all the data I've seen leans the other way, that once you're in the dream realm, you're in the dream realm. You stay there. And if you're trying to astral project, it's the dream realm shaping around it. So, unfortunately, every bit of data I've seen doesn't line up with that. So I can't say one way or the other. If he's found a way, kudos to him. All that's cool, awesome. But then again, the way astral travel has been treated lately, I'm also not too fond of, because they almost use it as an escapism with no data, no tangibility, no way to test, prove, or anything. And as many of my one-on-one students will tell you, I don't fly that way. I actually look for proof and data and ways to test it. And if you're interested in that, we are getting ready to do an astral workshop at the community. I have to. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's going to be one of the online school workshops. The supporters will get free access, but it's going to be, I want to say it's a $10 or $15 workshop, but it'll be a live workshop with a replay and notes, so you can take part in that if you want. If you can't visit it live, you can still see the replay. And a lot of the techniques. And if anyone took my evocation course during the astral evocation, when we're talking about scrying and stuff, it's similar to real world application and testing of the scrying. So you guys know I don't play when it comes to that. But, try it. Try it for yourself, Lord of Darkness. Try it. We can't put anything in a bottle and prove it magically. We can't, right? We just can't. And our science hasn't gotten to the point where they can. They're constantly improving and developing new things. I know a lot of people's like, science hasn't developed anything in the last 200 years or the last 20 years. You'd be surprised if you actually put your open your ears and open your eyes and look at what science has done and look what they've developed in the last 20 years. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy where technology and science has come. They're not where we would like them as magicians. And will they ever get there? I don't know. I hope they do. I theorize they will, but I don't know for sure.